June 12th, Jeffrey Byard, your host. This is Healing Shame, and let's get that reading up on the screen for you. Here we go. It is June 12th. Here is the reading from Strengthening My Recovery. Shame. Shame blinds us to the fact that love is inside each of us waiting to be discovered. That's from the Big Red Book, page 168. We are often broken when we come to ACA. Through denial, we don't even know what we don't know. It takes time to realize how badly bruised, emotionally and sometimes physically, we were as kids. Shame ruined our sense of self. We had a self when we were born, but it was chipped away day after day until we seemed to be in shreds. There was little left but the reflection of our parents' hateful and frightening words and actions. Some of us may have felt confused when we started recovery as we were told to reach inside for our self worth. We didn't know that we had any, and we doubted ourselves at every turn. Even though we felt hopeless, we hung on to the words we heard in the meetings. We saw others recovering, and it felt hopeful. It helped to read the literature on a daily basis, and eventually we felt a shift happening. We continued our step work, going to meetings, relying on a higher power, and reaching our inner child. We began to truly see our value, no longer defined by the shaming voices of the past. We had a new image of ourselves, a true image of the valuable person we always were. And here's our mantra. On this day, I look at myself through the eyes of recovery, not through the eyes of my caretakers from childhood. I see the love inside me that continues to grow. And that's copyright 2013 by Adult Children of Alcoholics and Dysfunctional Families, World Service Organization. Shame is really what crushed my spirit when I was a kid. I remember growing up and getting in trouble in middle school, and my mother would spend hours making me feel like I was a mistake. Not that I made a mistake, but that I was a mistake. And I realize and recognize that by looking back at it, that's probably something that happened to her when she went through her childhood. She was probably shamed. So I'm trying to see it from a new perspective. But I do recognize that the damage was done and there was no going back. There was no undoing that damage. So shame is basically like, I am a mistake instead of I made a mistake. That's the feeling of shame. And that's what we're talking about with this whole series, Healing Shame, is I have a self-love deficit. And at the base of this pyramid or triangular pyramid, if you will, at the base of that is this reservoir of toxic shame. And that comes from the horrible attachment style I had with my caretakers. And then the step up from that is, the toxic shame, the reservoir of toxic shame. And that was just, it takes time. It takes time to be shame based. And I became shame based because of all of the stuff that was done. Looking back on it, my biological father also shamed. He shamed in different ways: criticism, belittling criticism, perfectionism, the shaming that was done when I got in trouble in middle school. I remember being put in the bedroom saying, "You can't come out. You need to go think about what you did, Jeff. Go back there and think about what you did. Go back in that bedroom, that dark room, and go think about what you did, the mistakes you made or whatever." And then I wasn't able to eat with my brothers, so I was isolated emotionally, physically, and all that. And then later when it was time to eat, I'd have to come rushing out and grab what was left. So stuff like that was going on. Um, until eventually, your spirit gets crushed enough and you become a shame-based person, and you begin to take hits of shame. Fortunately, there is a program here, and it's Adult Children of Alcoholics and Dysfunctional Families, and I have the ability now to focus on the recovery. and allow myself time to heal and not have to rush through this process because I don't know what I don't know. I've only been in ACA for a few years now, and there's a lot of hard things to process in this program. Working the steps, talking with a sponsor, doing outreach calls, being in a relationship, and sharing these survival traits and these defects with your partner is intimidating. And I have a fear of abandonment. So it's like if I share too much, this person's going to run away and abandon me. And that's scary. That terrifies an adult child like myself. So, because I'm still working on integrating the fear of abandonment, integrating the fear of authority figures, and all those 14 survival traits, and the other laundry list where I'm the perpetrator. I work on not doing those things, or at least recognizing when those things come up. But yeah, there's a lot of good stuff here. I see, you know, yeah, I felt hopeless when I first came into this program, but after coming back a little bit and moving through the steps, moving through the process, praying, I discovered that I can move beyond what does it say here? The reflection of my parents' hateful and frightening words and actions. I can actually move beyond that and realize my true self, the true image of the valuable person we always were. And so I need to see myself through the eyes of recovery, not through the eyes of the caretakers who said what I'm not. Instead, I get to choose, with my loving parents' help, my higher power. I get to choose who and what I am. I get to exercise humility, recognition of who and what I am and what I can become. That's humility. So there's a lot of empowerment in this program, but I have to stay close to the prayer, to the steps, to my sponsor, to the outreach people. Good therapy can be just invaluable, absolutely invaluable, good therapy. And so I'm working on that as well. I have a therapy appointment coming up in about a week. Hopefully, this person keeps their word and keeps the appointment, doesn't cancel it. And if that happens, then I'll just find something else. But this is a daily reprieve contingent on the maintenance of my spiritual condition. If I move away from the program, if I stop working the steps, if I stop prayer, if I stop reading the little green book, the little pocket-sized version, or the big red book, if I stop talking about my feelings and trying to discuss my wants and needs with my partner, describe or discuss my boundaries, and talk in feelings, if I try to intellectualize too much, then I start getting in trouble and I get off the beam. So to stay on track, I need to stay focused on this program and all the tools that are at my disposal. So that's all I have today. And until next time, all the best.